We are at risk of a coup d'etat in this country if we allow an unaccountable person with no oversight to undermine the duly elected President of the United States. And I would offer that is precisely what is happening right now with the indisputable conflicts of interest that are present with Mr. Mueller and others at the Department of Justice. I join my colleague, the gentleman from Arizona, in calling for Mr. Mueller's resignation or his firing. Moreover, we absolutely have to see the Department of Justice appoint a special counsel to look into the Clinton Foundation, the Uranium One deal, and the Fusion GPS dossier that I will now have the opportunity to discuss. I really don't know who's investigating the Uranium One deal right now. I know that in July, the chairman of the Judiciary Committee, along with 20 members of the Judiciary Committee, sent a letter to Attorney General Sessions asking who would be looking into these critical questions, demanding that a special counsel be appointed to conduct a thorough review. And it is extremely disappointing that the chairman of the Judiciary Committee and my fellow members have received no response from the Department of Justice as to that letter. I don't know whether the Attorney General's recusal on matters related to Russia impacts, influences, or in any way covers the Fusion GPS challenge and the incredible threat to national security raised by the Uranium One deal.
Is it dangerous to be a Trump supporter? Well, it's unlike anything I've seen in my lifetime. With conviction and an air of condescension, the left so hates Donald Trump and those who support him that they sanction the use of violence against them. They are attempting to recast our legal system without authority to do so, without legislative sanction, and without judicial imprimatur. To them, the use of physical violence is legal, proper, and justified if they disagree with your politics. The very ones who call you fascists and label themselves anti-fascist or Antifa are changing the rules, propagating a legal theory that is not only outrageously incorrect and an affront to democracy, it is an outright attempt at anarchy. Evidence. A man calmly asks whether players on a baseball field in D.C. are Democrats or Republicans. A documented Republican and Trump hater, he doesn't start shooting until he's told the players are Republicans. And Republican Congressman and Majority Whip Steve Scalise is shot and forever bears the scars of that hatred and violence. After the shooting, instead of a discussion of this issue of hatred, there's a concerted effort to claim the shooter was just a nut job. The mainstream media and the left more comfortable blaming a crazy man or guns for the actions of a leftist Trump-hating progressive. This guy wasn't crazy. That's an excuse to not deal with the left's hatred of the right. Had he been crazy, he would have been found so, or at least incompetent to stand trial when previously arrested. The man was in business. He had licenses for those businesses. He was focused, lucid, and clear in his attempt to commit violence against the right. Evidence. In California, a teacher at the Martin Luther King Middle School tells her class that it is okay to use violence against the right, and such is not a crime. Yvette or Yvonne Falarca, who is so open about her hatred and use of violence that she's charged with inciting a riot and arrested for her actions, and she's a member of the leftist group By Any Means Necessary. She's caught on camera assaulting a member of a workers' party. And she and her counter-protesters chased, hit, and even stabbed members of that traditional worker party. And the Berkeley Unified School District has reinstated her this past fall at the middle school. And just last week, Rand Paul suffered 6 broken ribs by his liberal neighbor, whose lawyer claims the assault was about leaves. If it is determined by federal investigators now looking into this unprovoked attack that it was politically motivated, well, then this would just be another example of the left's actionable hatred. Antifa itself, the ones in the black ninja outfits and masks in order to prevent their ID and arrest, believe they are justified in not only destroying property and burning buildings, but also assaulting anyone who disagrees with their socialist agenda. And if that's not enough, law enforcement is also standing down, not detaining, not arresting, not stopping the violence. And amazingly, folks, the order actually coming from the top, from a chief of police, a sheriff, a superintendent, a governor, directing cops to violate their oath to protect victims and the public. The proof is in the pudding. After 12 hours of violence in Berkeley that involved individuals as well as property, only one arrest. And if you were in Washington, as I was on Inauguration Day, you know they aren't shy about it. Madonna at a microphone saying she was thinking of blowing up the White House. Kathy Griffin puts a vile picture of herself holding a bloody likeness of the president's head on social media. The goal of these haters is to normalize, incite, and mobilize hatred and turn it into violence. Now, OFA, Organizing for Action, once Obama for America, is a Democratic protest movement with Barack Obama at its helm, and it's reportedly busing protesters to events. And Hillary, of course, wants to be the head of the resistance. Let's be clear. The claim that words alone or beliefs justify violence is so far afield from the common law and our legal foundations that most people are smart enough to not even entertain or argue it. It's not just speech these organized, militant, self-anointed activists seek to shut down. They seek to upend the very rules upon which our criminal justice system is based. These Trump-hating progressives claim that assault is legitimate and justified, that it's okay to punch a fascist, and that their thinking is starting to become mainstream, folks. In 2016, Americans elected Donald Trump. We were tired of 8 years of a lawless Obama presidency. We believed that the outsider, Donald Trump, was just the one to bring back law and order and truth and justice. Little did we know that the law and order we craved wasn't just about enforcing the law, like violations that occurred before our very eyes by the Clintons, by Lois Lerner, Loretta Lynch, Eric Holder, and that lot. But instead, it's now about preventing a complete takeover of the justice system by infiltrating in the minds of millennials and militant forces that justice tolerates violence. And that's my open. Tell me what you think on my Facebook page, Twitter, and Instagram, hashtag Judge Jeanine.
Now, last night in our monologue, we gave you a retrospective on just why President Trump was able to pull off a historic victory in last year's presidential race. In case you missed it, well, I called into Fox News on election night to detail what the 2016 election was all about. Take you down memory lane.
To me, this was predictable, but on the other hand, this is a modern-day political miracle you're witnessing before your eyes right now. And that is to go up against everybody and all the pundits and all the pollsters and all the prognosticators out there and defy all the odds. And it's the American people that have said enough is enough. They're tired of the corruption, the cesspool, draining the swamp. All of these things were resonating. You know, when you look at a state like Wisconsin, what are they saying? They want their jobs back. They want the labor participation rate to be lower. In other words, more people having jobs. They want America to be energy independent. They're tired of a horrible educational system. They're tired of Obamacare rates going through the roof. This is not complicated. What's happening now is not working. And these guys, and Donald Trump has gone out there and he outworked Hillary Clinton and he put forward a much better agenda. And America said enough is enough with failed policies. That's what this election was about.
All right, in November of 2016, the failed policies of President Obama were actively hurting this country. Remember, economic growth was anemic, health care premiums, they went through the roof in spite of all the promises. Illegal immigration was impacting negatively communities all across this country. Taxes just too high. On January 20th, President Trump was sworn into office and immediately started the process to keep his promises and fix these problems. But while the president has been moving at what I call the speed of Trump, Congress, Republicans, they've been dragging their feet. The repeal and replace of Obamacare died in the United States Senate. Funding for the border wall, postponed some of it. And now the Senate is planning to fundamentally alter President Trump's tax proposal. We learned earlier today the Senate plan will delay the best part of it, the corporate tax cut, until 2019? Really? Now, by the way, there are 300 bills that the House has passed that the Senate hasn't even picked up. There are nominees to the president's government that haven't even been confirmed at this point. If you're a member of Congress, and let's say you're watching this from your second home, in the D.C. swamp, in the D.C. sewer, I want you to listen very closely. I do have a message for you spineless Republicans. If this delay goes to 2019, it will be rightly interpreted by the American people as a failure of you doing your job on a spectacular level. These tax cuts are crucial to American businesses. These tax cuts are crucial to getting good-paying jobs from overseas, the repatriation money, spurring the economy, hopefully for decades to come. So it's time for senators like Mitch McConnell, John McCain, the others in the Senate, stop lecturing us, the American people. It's time to get to work. I know you say the expectations have been too high. If this tax plan gets put off to 2019, you water this down, this failure will be on you. If the Republican Party gets trounced a year from now in the midterms, it won't be President Trump's fault, not going to be my fault, not going to be talk radio's fault, not going to be the Fox News Channel's fault. It's going to be your fault because you didn't have the courage, the vision, the backbone, the spine, the identity, the courage to put everything on the line for the people you're supposed to serve, the great people of this country, the forgotten men and women of this country, who this last election was all about. These are the people I spoke about for the past year, on food stamps, out of the labor force, in poverty. They're suffering. They don't have time to wait to 2019. Those that are having trouble buying their first home. Those are the people you're supposed to serve. You're supposed to be public servants. 1 year from now, if you lose your majority in the House, Senate, most specifically the Senate, you'll have nobody to blame but yourself. And you will all pay the price, and you'll have your colleagues pay the price at the polls next year, a year from now. It'll be your fault. Wake up or go home. That's my message. Best Sean, TikTok.